Hello, good day everyone. What's up? So this is gonna be an impromptu vlog that I will be making regarding the recent AMOSUP forum which was held last May 9, 2025. So I'm just gonna give my commentary and serious analysis on what happened there. I did not attend it myself, but I kind of check on the recordings or the live streams of the video on what happened there, and I will just give you a part on my analysis regarding on that forum by AMOSUP. And frankly, I am not entirely convinced, and some seafarers as well are not exactly buying on what AMOSUP is saying on their forum. So yeah, first off, there was a recent AMOSUP meeting that was held on May 5, 2025 regarding the recent issue about Magna Carta for Filipino seafarers. They're kind of explaining it to the general public of what is, how it affects the regular common Filipino seafarer as a whole. Now, AMOSUP appears to be actively promoting the Magna Carta for Filipino seafarers despite the presence of provisions that are widely criticized as anti-labor. Particularly, these are problematic signs from what was held on that meeting. Problematic signs from the AMOSUP meeting. Now, one, the tone and narrative of that forum. Now, AMOSUP officials and speakers repeatedly emphasized the need to control abuse by seafarers rather than focusing on company abuses, which is a red flag on my commentary. The discussion leaned toward portraying seafarers as problematic claimants rather than as vulnerable workers needing stronger protection. Now, there are very little criticism, if any, of the execution bond or third doctor rules. Both are major anti-seafarer provisions. Now, another thing that they kind of discussed there is the escrow and bond provisions, which they kind of soft pedal. Now, AMOSUP seems to downplay the harm caused by Section 59, which was, if everybody's information of the Magna Carta, it's a bond before the award release, treating it as a normal mechanism when in reality it burdens the injured seafarer and not the employer. Now, this Section 59, it was supposedly to benefit the third doctor arbitration was what I meant to say was the supposed benefit of the third doctor arbitration was presented without recognizing how this removes a seafarer's right to freely challenge a biased company doctor. Which is obviously, for everybody's information as well, when you have a case and when you sue your employer in the NLRC, for whatever medical claims it has, and of course the company doctor will definitely favor the company and not you. There's a second option for the seafarer who's going to file for charges to have a second, think of it as more like a second medical advice from your own doctor. Now, if both of that company doctor and the doctor that you kind of consulted disagrees on that opinion, there's a third option, which is I think that it will be more like the what do you call this? It will be the final decision, or more like the final say on how your case will be heard. If the third final doctor favors the company doctor, then it means that the company won on your case. Now, if the third independent doctor favors on your side or on the second doctor, which is the doctor that you kind of hired in regards to your medical claim, then the seafarer has a valid claim in regards to his benefits and his disability or injury claim. So that is kind of a big red flag on the AMOSUP forum that happened there. And like I said, the supposed benefit of the third doctor arbitration was presented without recognizing how this removes a seafarer's right to fully challenge a biased company doctor, which is the first option. Now, another thing I would like to discuss about it is what I saw on the forum itself. The third part of it is that it more like the AMOSUP leans on corporate sympathies rather than a Filipino seafarer worker. While AMOSUP is a union, the language and positions taken from the forum reflects more alignment with demanding agencies and ship owners. This reinforces suspicions among rank-and-file seafarers that AMOSUP may now be functioning as mere management-friendly organizations that are pro-ship owners. not as independent unions fighting for workers' rights. So that is also one of the big red flags that happened there. Another thing is that they are not they're not like exactly saying the grassroots seafarer voices. The event on that forum features no active seafarers sharing their personal labor struggles or grievances under the POEI contract system. This silencing of the workers' voice is telling, and it suggests that the meeting was designed to manufacture consent, not engage in open debate or dialogue to the workers. So here's the final conclusion that I could say about this. AMOSUP is actively pushing the Magna Carta despite its anti-labor nature, and the forum appears structured to justify controversial provisions, influence public opinion through selective framing, and protect the status quo of corporate and union leadership power in the maritime industry. It's not on the seafarers' side. Now, their current stance raises legitimate suspicions among seafarers, especially given AMOSUP's historical influence on maritime policy and ties with many agencies. So here's the thing. Who might be convinced about AMOSUP's propaganda? People who would buy these, words coming from a pro... Yeah, it's sad to say that AMOSUP is not on the side of the Filipino seafarer on this one. They're kind of leaning into pro-management and pro-company ship owners side. So who would believe them? Well, it's either new or young cadets, or many who lack the experience with labor rights, legal process, or how companies operate once you're injured or dismissed. Now, they may trust AMOSUP blindly, the ones that I mentioned above, the new cadets or the people or seafarers that lack the experience with labor rights or legal process, or that I mentioned earlier, and they may follow AMOSUP blindly, thinking it's still a pro-labor group it once was. Now, the seafarers, another thing that would probably buy this idea that the AMOSUP is selling on the forum is the seafarers dependent on AMOSUP's beliefs, which is basically mostly tied to them as well. Some are afraid or to speak out or question AMOSUP because they relied on union hospitals, retirement, legal help, etc. That they may stay silent if ever they may disagree. So it's more like think of it as more like a light form of blackmail or hostage. And of course, obviously, from the most obvious who would buy those AMOSUP reasoning is that company affiliated educators or crewing staff, which is basically part of your manning and crewing agencies for obvious reasons. Now, who are less likely not to believe on the forums that was held by AMOSUP on their forums? Well, most people who won't believe or buy this are obviously veteran seafarers, the ones that they've seen firsthand and how claims are delayed, how company doctors manipulate results, or how injuries claims are denied. Those veteran seafarers have a know-how how weak the legal system in the Philippines are for the average Filipino seafarers. Another thing that would not believe, or people who would disagree on the forum that was said by AMOSUP, is the injured or abused seafarers. And I'll be honest, no amount of AMOSUP propaganda can convince someone who personally suffered abuse or denial of benefits. These are your natural allies as a worker in spreading awareness that Magna Carta is not pro-worker. And also, obviously, another thing that would not buy AMOSUP's forum is the labor advocates in independent unions. But unfortunately, there's not much independent labor unions in the Philippines. I wouldn't, for now I won't mention it, but any major labor unions in the Philippines always leans on the pro-manning and ship owner stance. Like in this case, AMOSUP was supposed to be an independent union, but if you replied on what they're saying on that forum, it's more like that they're kind of blaming seafarer workers for abusing the law system. They did not question if the company or ship owners are abusing the system as well, so they kind of left that information out. Now, they've been tracking bottom line, it's all about propaganda, not genuine consultation. So it's a one-side framing to control the narrative that seafarers dislike Magna Carta law. and as what happened on the previous forum made by on the Senate, made by Senator Tulfo and Congressman Salo, it shows the same mistake of that Senate hearing, which is the lack of critical voices in the forum and overuse of emotional manipulation. They're kind of invoking patriotism of abuse of the system stories, and they kind of put seafarers in the bad lights, and they kind of saying that the average normal Filipino sailor abuses the justice system. They did not mention or made highlight that the ship owners themselves, or anything that is involved into crewing, they did kind of discounted that kind of factor, that they also, the ship owners as well, are abusive when it comes to the justice system as well. So yeah, that's all that I can say about that forum that happened. So if you want to take a look yourself and study on what happened there, there's a link below that I could put up on this vlog. So thank you everyone for watching, and I hope you analyze well on whose side people are, because in the maritime world in the Philippines, most people, even the law, or you cannot trust the ship owners on you don't take them by face value. So I hope you be wise enough to know that Magna Carta for Filipino seafarers is not for the Filipino seafarer at all. It's supposed to sound like Magna Carta, but it's not exactly for pro-labor Filipino seafarers. So anyway, thank you everyone, and I'll see you around on my next vlog. Say bye bye for now. See ya.